So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Manobal Women's Stories, episode 2. And this is my pleasure to have you all with me today. And this is episode 2 of the Manobal Women's Stories. It's not just a regular kind of session. Their guest is coming, or they will give a speech or some corporate talk. This is a platform where someone will come to share her journey that she went through, what inspired her, what she had faced during her life, and what challenges she is dealing now to inspire many women like me and like you. So we all are same in the same boat. There is a no difference. Because of this thought, we begin this Manobal Women's Stories, because there are many women like the episode one's speaker, Dr. Aninda, and today's speaker, Sister Anushri Das, and many more. They are doing something fruitful, and they are giving something to society without thinking for themselves and without thinking about their daily life or their comfort zone. So this is our thought, that we should spread this information or this message that someone is working hard day and night for the society. So just for this thought, we begin the Manobal Women's Stories, and we are really glad that this people like Anushri sister and Dr. Ranin Dada and many more, they joined our hand and they came forward, that they said that we are ready to join the session. So thank you so much for coming here. And today's session is also special because today we are celebrating Independence Day, India's 80th Independence Day. We have completed 79 years of independence. So it's a big number, but still many things are like that only, especially for women. When we talk about their health, when we talk about their freedom related to their education, their working profile in many fields, they they still struggling. They are still struggling for that kind of freedom. So for there is a one point for that particular aspect, the sister Anushri is working, and I'm not going to talk about that more because she is here to share her journey with us. So let's begin today's session. And now I invite our host, Miss Malvika. Malvika, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nishi. At the onset, I would like to thank you and Manobal Women to give me the opportunity to host the second episode as well. It's an honor. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Manobal Women Stories, Conversations That Heal. I am so glad to have all of you with us. At Manobal Women Stories, we believe that sometimes it isn't advice that changes us. Sometimes it is simply hearing another woman speak honestly about the road she has traveled, the choices she has made, the difficult moments she has walked through, and the meaning she has found along the way. And today's conversation is around something many of us have been probably thought about at some point. What happens when women chooses purpose over comfort? Our featured voice today is Miss Anushri Dash. And rather than introducing her journey for her, I think the best way to know is Anushri here to tell Anushri herself. Anushri, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Manobal Women Stories. And without further ado, I would like to know, before all the work you are doing today, who is Anushri Dash? Tell us a little about your journey.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me here. And happy Independence Day to all the women out there. Hope we dream bigger. We are free to dream now. And if at all we are not free to dream, I think this is the time we need to walk alone, dream alone, and fly. because the sky is ours. So, once again, thank you. You started, who is Anushri Das? Uh, it's absolutely a difficult question for me. People often introduce me by my titles: gender equality advocate, founder, TEDx speaker, awardee. People see the awards, they see the stage, but very few see the battles that build the women standing on it. But if you ask me, who is Anushri Das, I would simply say, mm, I am a woman who refused to accept that this is how things have always been. I was not born to influence or power or a platform. I built my voice, one difficult conversation at a time. My journey has been shaped by questions most people were uncomfortable asking, like, why should a girl miss school because of her period? Why is a woman's worth still measured by her silence? Why are conversations around gender, sexuality, and dignity still treated as taboo? Uh, the more I traveled through villages, schools, and community, the more I realized that the biggest poverty we are facing currently is not the financial one. It is the poverty of opportunity, poverty of information, and of course, respect. That has changed me forever. I didn't want to be another person talking about the changes from just a stage. I wanted to stand where change needed the most. That's how my organization Adiva Shri Vision was born. Not as an organization, but as a promise that every girl deserves dignity. Every woman deserves a voice, and every community deserves a courage to question the harmful norms. If you ask me honestly, this journey has never been glamorous. It has come with its own set of bounties, I will say. And there were criticism, there were resistance, there were failures, of course, sleepless nights, and moments when people told me to stay quiet because I was too outspoken. But if but I have learned that every time a woman is called difficult for speaking the truth, society is simply admitting it was more comfortable with her silence. So today, when I'm speaking to policymakers, sitting with adolescent girls in a government school, or maybe meeting women in the remotest village of our country, my purpose remains the same: to make equality impossible to ignore. Because for me, advocacy is not a profession. It is absolutely personal. And if there is one thing I want uh, people to remember about me, Anushri Das, it's not the awards or the recognition. I want them to remember that I choose courage over comfort. And uh, I hope that choice inspires someone else to do the same in his or her life.
That is so amazing. I really like the line that you said. We are not we are not having poverty of finances, but poverty of respect. That is something that really touched in your answer. Thank you for sharing that. I think understanding where someone comes from gave us such a different perspective of where they eventually choose to go. From the outside, leaving something established and successful can sometimes look like a brave decision. You left a successful corporate career. What made you take that leap of faith?
Mm. Before that, I will say I had a very successful corporate careers of around 10 plus years, precisely around 12 years. People often say, you were doing so good, so well in the corporate world. Why would you leave? And I usually joke because PowerPoint presentations and taking morning meetings stopped giving me purpose.
I'm sure.
But the truth is, I was not running away from corporate life. I was running towards something that mattered more. I had a salary, a stability, the promotions everyone tells you to chase. On paper, life looked sorted. But every time I stepped into a community, spoke to adolescent girls, or met women who had accepted that inequality uh, is normal, or they have accepted that inequality as their destiny, I returned with one question that refused to leave me. The question is, if I know better and I can do better, why I'm not doing better? Why I'm spending my time, effort, my intellect, of course, emotion, everything in this corporate world? There comes a point where success stops being your designation and starts being about your contribution. So, uh, did people think I was crazy? Absolutely. Some asked, why would you leave a comfortable career for social work? There is no money in it. And I would think, exactly, that is the point. That's why more people should be doing it, because we need more change maker, more people feeling empathetic for the cause. If I can just tell you about the transition, or rather what this true life has taught me. Corporate taught me how organizations function, and walking on grassroots taught me how society functions. And trust me, the second classroom was far more difficult. When you work with the people, human values, with the constraint of our culture, with the constraint of caste, creed, religion, with the constraint of socio-economy, then you understand this particular area is much more difficult. I have always been fascinated by governance and public policy, because the real change does not happen only through awareness campaigns. It happens when good policy meets honest implementation. Leaving this corporate was not a leap of faith because I was fearless. It was a leap because staying would have meant ignoring the voice inside me that had become louder than the appraisal letters and every paycheck I was receiving. So, for me, if you ask me honestly, maybe I measure success differently. Success for me is waking up every morning knowing that my decisions, my voice, and my work have the potential to influence lives beyond my own. So that was the turning point. of leaving a successful corporate career and coming to the development sector, walking on the grassroots, walking on the remotest places of our country, because that is something giving me a meaning to my life rather.
Amazing. The idea of choosing something meaningful, even when it is, when the comfortable option is right, that is something I think many people, many women will relate to. There are certain moments in life that stay with us long after they have passed. Maybe someone says something, maybe we meet someone, maybe we witness something that suddenly shifts our priorities. Was there any experience or conversation that completely changed your perspective on life?
Oh, there were many rather, but I would share two instances over here, two stories. One is very personal and one is societal. I'll begin with the first one. Mm, there has been, uh, I mean, I was traveling to villages, I was walking with the community, and I met a young girl. And the conversation we had during that community session, that one story actually changed something deep inside me. I was speaking about menstruation, education, and dreams. And after the session, she came up to me very quietly and said something that stayed with me ever since. She said that, Didi, uh, I did not know I was allowed to dream big. I remember going silent. I met this girl in a village who has been sexually abused by a family member for years. What broke my heart was not only what happened to her, it was that she had begun to believe that it was normal. Think about it. When something as deeply wrong as abuse becomes normal to a child, a girl child, you realize that the real battle is not only against the person who caused the harm, it is against the silence, conditioning, and the systems that taught that child not to question it. So that particular experience that stayed with me. Uh, it made me realize that advocacy is not about speaking for people. It is about creating that condition where people can recognize that what is happening to them is not okay, and find the courage and support to say enough, because enough is the word we hardly use in our society. And another instance, actually, that is experience, which is a very recent one, which is a much more personal one, that changed the way I look at life. Something happened where I made to feel very small simply because I asked for some basic things, some basic expenses from someone close to me. And what hurt me was not just the situation. It was what it made me realize, what that person made me realize. For a moment, I felt as though my worth was being measured by how much money I earned, not by my education, not by my intellect, my contribution, my character, or the person I have spent years becoming. And that really stayed with me, because as women, we are constantly taught to make adjustment for relationships, compromise a little, sacrifice a little, earn less perhaps, Don't be too ambitious, too opinionated, don't make other person uncomfortable. And somehow all of this are packaged as love, family, and adjustment. But that experience made me realize something very clearly. A woman should never have to reduce her worth to preserve a relationship. Relationships um, should add to her dignity, not negotiate it. And I think this is where economic independence becomes so important in our life, because uh, not because it decides our worth or it determines our worth. It's absolutely has nothing to do with that, but because financial independence gives a women the freedom to make choices without having to constantly calculate the cost of leaving or disagreeing or standing up for herself. I have in my entire life, I have been called bossy because I have an opinion, too outspoken because I ask questions, too ambitious because I refuse to stay in a smaller version of myself. And honestly, I have reached a point where I find it slightly amusing because if a woman having standards is called difficult, perhaps we are simply made easy to control the definition of a good woman. And that is how uh, good women, or rather women, are being judged in today's time and era. This particular experience reminded me why the work I do matters so much to me, because patriarchy does not always come shouting or arrive shouting.
Hmm.
Sometimes it arrives disguised as concern, sometimes as tradition, sometimes as love, and sometimes as expectation that a woman must sacrifice herself to keep everyone else comfortable. So these are the two instances which actually changed the way I think I look at life. That young girl taught me something profound. Sometimes that she taught me that sometimes silence oh, means someone has never been taught that they have a choice. And that has completely changed the way I look at leadership. And uh, with the personal experience, I have understood that never negotiate your self worth to keep a relationship, because the right relationships do not require you to become smaller to make someone else feel bigger or mightier. So yeah, these are the two instances I would like to state. But of course, there are working with the communities, working with women specifically. There were many such stories, and I think all of us have somewhere at the story which has uh, made us think and rethink about what we are doing and change the path, the usual path we take.
That's so powerful. And I think stories like this also remind us that the journey people see from the outside is very rarely the whole journey. We often see the courage, the work, and the smile, but not necessarily what happened behind them. One of the reasons called we one of the reasons we call the series Conversations That Heal is because we wanted to create space not only for achievements but also for the parts of our stories that are harder to speak about. Every strong woman has battles people don't see. What was one of yours and what helped you move forward?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions about strong women is that we don't break. We do. We just don't issue a press release every time that happens. So we people believe that, oh, she's so strong, so that means she can handle it and handle everything alone. So One of the hardest lessons I have learned is that leadership comes with a price. You don't just lose opportunities, sometimes you lose people. And the most painful part of that is it's often the people you love the most. When you are a woman with a purpose bigger than yourself, not everyone will understand your choices. Sometimes even the family you marry into struggles to understand why your work matters so deeply to you. They see the travel, the public life, and the difficult conversation, but they don't always see the responsibility that comes with it. At some time, at some point of time, you realize that if you listen to every opinion, you will spend your life living someone else's script. What helped me moving forward in these difficult situations is not confidence. It was clarity. Because what I believe, confidence comes and goes, but clarity is something which stays with you. The moment I became clear uh, about why I'm doing this, what I'm doing, criticism became the background noise for me. And I think women should never have to choose between being loved or being true to yourself. If your purpose makes some people uncomfortable, let it be. Because leadership for me is not about pleasing everyone, it was about staying committed when the applause fades and misunderstandings begin. So, today, what I do, I don't chase validation, I chase impact. Because I have realized that every challenge, every setbacks, every closed door was preparing me for rooms where difficult decisions would have been made. So yes, I still have good days and hard days, but what I'm doing differently is like that I have stopped asking why this is happening to me. And now I have a different set of question for myself. Now I ask, what is this preparing me for? And that one question has changed the way I look at every situation, and that has changed everything for me. From why it's happening to me to what is it preparing me for, is it's a game changer for me.
That's so amazing. This just a small change is like it sounds only so amazing. What is this preparing me for? And I'm sure you have changed a lot of perspective to after that. That's a profound change. Sometimes life changes our priorities through experiences we would never have chosen for ourselves. Health journeys within family can change the way we think about time, relationships, purpose, and even what truly matters. Your mother's health journey had a profound impact on you. How did it change the way you look at life?
Oh, one of the difficult question, I would say. There are moments in life that divides a story before and after. For me, my mother's health journey was one of those moments. People often see me on stages, in meetings, speaking with confidence. What they don't see um, are the hospital corridors, that sleepless nights, that silent prayers, and the fear of watching the strongest person in your life fighting for hers. My mom has always been the first lesson of resilience for me. She never taught me courage through speeches. She taught me through the way she lived, with her dignity, with her unwavering faith, and an incredible ability to put herself first. which you hardly see in women of her age. Watching her um, battle illness made me realize how fragile life really is. We spend actually so much time planning our next meeting, our next promotion, our next milestone, believing that we have enough time in the world. Then life reminds you that the only thing guaranteed is this moment. And that changed me. Today, after that incident, actually, I don't measure success only by achievement. I measure it by whether I am present for the people I love, whether my work truly matters, and whether I'm living in a way that would make my parents proud. There is, I think, there is another lesson also she gave me, that strength does not look loud. Sometimes strength is choosing hope when your body is tired. Sometimes it's smiling through pain, so your family does not lose faith. Sometimes it's simply deciding to fight one more day. As a daughter, there were days when I wanted to fall apart. And every time I looked at my mother, I realized she was fighting a battle far greater than me with grace. So, at the least I could do was fight mine with courage. People ask me this particular question, that where your resilience comes from, the answer has always been simple. I learned it watching my mother. If I have ever stood in difficult time, in difficult questions, it's because I was raised by women who showed me that faith is not believing life will be easy. Faith is finding strength to keep going, even when life is not. So I will just say that she has not just given me this life, she taught me how to live it. And I think that those instances, what has happened with her, her health journey, that was a completely 360-degree change for me. And it has given me a different perspective for life and how I respect relationships.
Thank you so much for sharing something so personal. And sometimes it's like the part we don't want to talk on something, that can be so. It's interesting how some of life's most difficult chapters can also bring an extraordinary clarity about the people we love, the things we value, and the kind of life we want to build. We have spoken about where you started, the turning points, the difficult moments, and the people who shape your journey. But I'd also like to know what you see when you look forward. What keeps you hopeful, and what changes would you like to see for women in the years ahead?
What keeps me hopeful? Honestly, women themselves. Every time I meet a young girl who refuses to accept the limitations placed on her, or a woman who decide to start over at 40, 50, or 60, I am reminded that change is already happening. It may not always make headlines, but it is happening. So that actually gives me hope. And I think we need to stop waiting for the perfect revolution. Sometimes revolution looks like a girl saying, "No, I don't want to get married yet. I want to study."
Yeah.
Or maybe sometimes it looks like a woman asking for her share in the property. Sometimes it is simply a woman saying, "Actually, I disagree." That itself is a revolution. It's a silent revolution when you say, "No, this is enough, I disagree." And apparently the last one, this disagree one which I said, I think that can actually bring a national emergency in some of the household. But but jokes apart, what I want to see in the years ahead is a shift from empowering women to trusting women. We have spent decades telling women that you can do anything. Now it's time, when we give them education, when we give them safety, economic independence, political representation, healthcare, and most important is the decision making power to actually do it. I want women not to just sitting at the table, but designing the table. I want more women on the boardrooms, on universities, in businesses, in legislature, and most important, I think in rooms where policies are being written. Because if women are half of the population, their voices cannot be treated like a guest appearance in policy making. And another thing I think, which I will mention here, I want us to raise a generation of boys who don't think that gender equality is a favor they're doing for women. It is not. Equality is not a women's issue, it's a societal upgrade. So, yes, I am hopeful, but I am not passively hopeful. Hope for me is a strategy. And I think we need to collectively do that. We educate, we organize, we advocate, and we challenge the systems. We enter into the rooms where the decisions are made. And when the doors are closed, we build our own doors. Because I don't think women currently need to spend their entire lives asking, am I allowed? I want them to walk into the room and ask, where should I begin? Where should we begin, rather? So that collectiveness, as well as that advocacy of not asking for the room, or not asking for the someone to open the door for me, or not asking someone to just give me a seat at the table. We just need to have that go-getter strategy where we are redesigning and reforming the entire system. So that is what I believe we women are capable of, and I'm hopeful for that as well.
So beautiful, so beautiful. I really hope that your hopes come true and we live in a gender equal, independent India. Uh, Maybe 85th or 90th, sometime 90th Independence Day. We will say thank you for this hope, Anushri. And before we move to our final question, I want everyone to get to know another side of Anushri. So, Anushri, are you ready for a little rapid fire? Don't think so much. Whatever comes to your mind first has to be the answer. Are you ready?
Sure, sure.
One word that defines your journey.
One word: conviction.
What gives you strength?
Uh, the belief that silence has never changed the world.
I love that. One habit you never miss.
Can I speak about two things?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, the first one is questioning the status quo, and the second one, which I have never missed, is starting my day with gratitude.
Amazing. A woman who inspires you.
Of course, my mother, but honestly, every woman who chooses courage over convenience inspires me.
Amazing. I think sometimes those shortest answers tell us quite a lot about a person. Anushri, before we close, I want to come to the last question. To the reason this platform exists, every woman watching today is in a different chapter. Someone may be wondering whether to make a change. Someone may be rebuilding. So I want you to leave the final with something. If there's one message you'd like every woman watching today to remember, what would it be?
If there is one thing I want every woman to remember, is that the world will always have an opinion about you. Make sure it's never louder than your own voice. That is fascinating. The moment a woman starts setting the boundary, she's called difficult. The moment she's leading, she's called intimidating. The moment she starts speaking her mind, she's told that too much. But my question is, too much for whom? We have spent generations teaching our women how to adjust. Maybe it's time we teach the world how to respect women. So, for all the women who have joined me, watching me, stop waiting for permission to take space, because leadership is not an invitation someone sends you, it's a responsibility you choose to accept. And please don't shrink yourself just to fit into the rooms that were never designed for your growth. Build bigger rooms, better rooms, build your own table, and make sure other women have a seat at it too. Because empowerment is not about proving women are equal, because we already are. So dream audaciously, speak unapologetically, lead fearlessly, and I will conclude with this one. Remember this thing: history has never been changed by women who were busy trying to be liked. It's been changed by women who had the courage to be heard. So be that women, write your own history.
Amazing. Thank you, Anushri. I think that is a perfect thought for us to carry from today's conversation. Anushri, thank you so much for trusting us with your story today, not just the milestones. We all keep seeing your milestones on LinkedIn, Instagram, but also the moments, decision, and experiences behind them. And to everyone who joined us, thank you for giving us something increasingly rare, your time and your attention. Thank you, Nishi, for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session yet again. Thank you, Manobal Women. Over to Nishi.
Thank you. Thank you, Anushri, for sharing your heart and trusting Manobal women's stories. It's really a privilege to listen your personal experiences, your thoughts, and your journey. It's not an ordinary session. It was not an ordinary session. It was something beyond that. And thank you, Malvika, for guiding this conversation with warmth. Uh, and I would like to tell whoever has joined today, if today's story has touched your heart, please carry it forward. And you can connect with Anushri in the Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere, and you can see her journey, how she is working and how she is serving to the societies. And because every story has the power to heal, and everyone has that power, they can do and they can give back to the society or the world, whatever, because everyone is consuming, huh? No one is giving back. So if we meet someone like Anushri, it definitely inspires us to give something like that, in different ways, because we all have our own thoughts and our own visions, but we should do something. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you, Anushri. Thank you, Malvika. It's truly grateful. And today's session was truly amazing. And this is the actually platform that Manobal Women Stories was begin. So thank you. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Nishi. Thank you, Malvika, for moderating it so beautifully. Thank you, Manobal Women, for giving me not only the platform, but creating that sisterhood where women can come, share their story unapologetically, and creating that sisterhood, of course, because we always think of growing alone. It's time we not only grow, we uplift other, and that is the real meaning of empowerment. And thank you. And to all of you who have joined, I'm always available on all the social media platform. So feel free to reach me. Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much.